To know this artist is to love this artist, and to love this artist, you must get to know this artist. He is Christine and the Queens, and I found a piece that would summarize everything about the artist himself, plus the change that he has gone through musically, physically, emotionally, to then lead into the song, To Be Honest, which I think, looking at the lyrics, will be reflective of the piece of research I found. So I think it'll be going straight into, and I want to give a shout out to The Guardian and Miranda Sawyer, who interviewed Christine and the Queens. And the title began, I'm changing, and I don't think society helps at all. Christine and the Queen's journey to becoming Redcar. Complicated? Confused? You won't be in a minute. The French pop star has endured the death of his mother, record industry resistance, and a backlash after adopting male pronouns. In an emotional interview, he talks about the struggle to understand himself and the music he makes. So whereas before it was feminine pronouns and we'd refer to Christine, at one stage was called Christine as a female, it's now the music performer would prefer to be now known as, in the male pronouns, a male. It begins, there are some musicians who seem made for and by their work, who make music that lives through them, from their toes to the tip of their quivering quiff. Redcar, which is now most people know Christine and the Queens, which I put on the thumbnail, because we need to, with this musical performer, we need to also transcend into it's like a metamorphosis taking place, even for me as a musical reactor, because I've always known him as Christine and the Queens, but now, and then it was Christine, now it's Redcar. So, formerly known as Chris, also known as Christine and the Queens, and born Heloise Latapie, a name he still occasionally uses, is one of those. Pure, intimate vocals, exceptional songwriting, a gift for theatrics and dancing ability that moves from Michael Jackson to West Side Story via cabaret's MC is what Christine and the Queens is all about. And from French-speaking niche to outsider to the mainstream is what he's about as well. Singles titled in 2014 from debut albums Chaleur Humaine and Girlfriend from Chris 2018 are the most well-known tracks, though true fans have enjoyed more, let's say, outside the box offerings, such as the video for $5 where we would watch our hero, brackets, heroine, donning bondage gear before putting on a man's suit. Now, Miranda has interviewed him on stage in London for this particular interview, but we'll go down through now. He starts the interview with Miranda by saying, I'm going to be honest, he says, I just cried before. I don't know if this interview is going to be even productive at all. His eyes are brimming, she says. What's wrong? She asks. My musical cycle was very intense for me, he says. Wonderful, but also broke me down. I don't know how to rebuild myself because I feel very angry at a lot of things, including society and how to exist today as an artist. I've been tempted by retreating, stopping, just releasing the music, not doing any visuals, maybe not performing. I am a performer, so that means a lot to me. But wouldn't being on stage in touch with your audience help you? Asked Miranda. To be honest, he replies, I don't have solutions to offer, and I want to be confident, but I'm not really anymore. I'm just lost because I don't understand. I've been dedicating my whole life praying to the angels for 2 years, working on very deep music I believe in, but it's been a lonely fight, and I've been isolating a lot, and I feel crazy now, and just broken. Voila. The voila is a flourish delivered with a weary smile, says Miranda. But his problems, as he explains, seems numerous, some surmountable, others not so much. Mostly he is wrung out from creating and projecting his music. The songs for Redcar, Les Adobres, Étoiles were made quickly in a 2-week burst, alone on his computer in his home in Paris in 2021. He set himself a challenge of making a song a day, and he succeeded, because there's 13 tracks. This process, he says, was intense, joyous, a firework explosion from every creative angle. And then he talks about his mother. In April 2019, his mother, Martine, died suddenly in the week between his 2 sets at Coachella. Her heart got infected and stopped abruptly, he says. He cancelled the 2nd set and rushed back to France, but wasn't able to be with her when she died. And since then it was everything at once. It was just this unfolding, very chaotic stage in his life. In 2020 came lockdown. Just before that, February of that year, Christine and the Queens released a 5-song EP, La Vita Nova, with lavish accompanying video, which saw him on a Parisian roof, dancing inside with the troupe, dashing down the stairs in a long white dress and turning vampire on stage. The EP was well received. One song from it, People I've Been Sad, excellent by the way, and if you haven't checked out Christine and the Queens, do check out People I've Been Sad, and you'll understand now why the death of the mother, all of that made him sad. So Redcar got an invitation to work with Mike Dean, highly regarded producer of Kanye West, Lana Del Rey, Madonna, Drake, The Weeknd. COVID meant this was difficult, but Chris sneaked into the US via Mexico and holed up in Los Angeles for several months working. Dean restored his belief in his talents, which has been wavering. He picked out everything that was personal, and we worked in that. He knows how to protect an emotional gesture. And with Dean, Redcar created an album. Not this one, but another one that will be released later this year. It was lonely at times, detached from proceedings. He continued to be creative. So I had the energy, he says. It was like having roller skates on and just doing what we had to do. There were pool parties and we were arriving, smoking, and there was times where it was somber and just writing. Red takes his music seriously, but his mother's death also plunged him into a deep grief, which ebbs and encompasses and led him, as death will, to a search for meaning in life. It also helped him into a new freedom. When my mother was alive, I think I had to be a daughter for her, he says. And then, by the way, I loved her, so I was not super mad about this. I did it. But there was a huge chunk of me that did not connect to that way of thinking. I think to my trans identity when she was alive, because to be feminine was an element of what she needed all more than me. Finally, becoming a trans man for Redcar was liberation, though not an easy one. He finds himself in conflict with what's expected of him. I'm in resistance to the approach of trans identity, that there has to be hormones and operations, he said. It's an abiding binary system I don't believe in. Binarism has been made to control, he said. The system itself imposes a lot of performance on everybody from birth, and I wanted to free myself and everybody else in this conversation. I'm sick of having to define myself with their grotesque tools of oppression, and I don't think I owe anyone any scars, to be precise. And it took me a time after taking a breath, he says, for me to say, because I was terrified of having to act in it. And I think since I've been talking about it and understanding from inside who I was, I've been fighting sometimes trans people who want me to formulate myself to be a proper trans man. Who are we doing this for, he asks? Everyone's different. I know people, who have been blossoming and thriving on hormones, reaching their proper incarnation, and I respect that. But my approach is I want to thrive in that contradiction. I want to make it a poem to help deconstruct the violence of a system. But personally, I don't feel I need to change anything about me, because I think what I needed to be changed was the self-hate, dysphoria and self-harm I always carried. Now the interview will be in a link attached to this video, and this is the song to be honest. Let's listen, got the lyrics, I'll digest, and try and break them up. But with that as a background, you needed to understand the journey of Christine and the Queens to being whom he is now, known as Redcar.
I get lost in my thoughts and for hours of time, and it's making me feel like I am not alone anymore. To be honest, I'm trying to love, but I'm afraid to kill, and I never know when to search or stay still, so I fly. To be honest with you, brokenly tender, always in and always out, heading to the water, trying in what he can hide, kind of foolish cautious. Don't you break my heart. Feeling kind of loveless, yet always ready to try. And I've been through so much that sometimes it feels far. It's like a movie played by another star. She's a stranger, to be honest. Now I'm sitting alone and I'm trying to listen to the stories that could make mine a little softer. Fine, to be honest. Broken tender, to be always in noise, toujours cold, heading to the water, comme se force, drowning you I can hide. Rien me trouve, kind of always cautious, toujours protégé. Don't you break my heart, caché, feeling kind of loveless, yeah, don't it, yet always ready to try.
Well, I think everybody's going to relate to that video. And Christine and the Queens becoming Redcar and now becoming the pronoun he. It's part of your journey, and to be honest, lots of people will relate to you. It opens up with the lyrics. I get lost in my thoughts for hours at a time, and it makes me feel like I'm not alone anymore. To be honest, I'm trying to love, but I'm afraid to kill, and I never know when to search or stay still, so I'll fly, to be honest with you. And to be honest, this song is about the former Christine and the Waves becoming Redcar. He'll always be in love with what the feminine side gave, but at the same time he wants to fly and go with being known musically now as Redcar, taking on the male pronouns, not defining people's wishes, becoming and being boxed into transgender, but just becoming himself, being free to be who he wants to be within his own body. It's a difficult journey because he still hasn't quite worked it out there, but at the same time he's made that transition now. And for his mother, and I'm sorry to have heard of your loss, I can only say he appeased his mother, but now feels liberated to fly and truly live the life that he wishes. And I'm sure she'll wish you that as well. And thank you for being the daughter she wanted until her end, and now being the son that you always wanted to be. It continues, broken and yet tender, always in, always out, heading to the water, drowning in what I can hide, kind of always cautious, don't you? Don't you break my heart, feeling kind of loveless, yet always ready to try. So really, it's about society. It's about people, don't break me. And the music industry not quite knowing where this artist is going. They like simple, you're gay or straight, you make music or not. You're a woman, make music. Now you're suddenly a man. You're not a trans. Then what the hell are you about? It becomes confusing for the music industry and people trying to deal with an artist who's dealing with themselves. So she's just saying, he's cautious. Star. She's a stranger, to be honest. Now I'm sitting alone and I'm trying to listen to the stories that could make mine a little softer and fine, to be honest. In other words, listen to the stories of, when Christine and the Queens, and when she was the persona and taking on the pronouns of a female, because she was born a female, it seemed easier. It seemed, this is what I was born to be, this is what people accept me to be, and this is what everyone is used to. See, that's the problem, being used to. And then when you transcend into your own body, your own way of thinking, your own thoughts, and you forge forward with how you want to be, a lot of people don't like change. Some are jealous, some are envious, but some get confused because basically it's like they're so wrapped up in their own lives, they haven't got time to make